Glenn Maxwell's autobiography, which you co-wrote. The Showman, it's called, which is a very good title for someone like him. What an experience that must have been, because he's such an interesting character.
Yeah, I mean, it's a privilege to be asked to tell someone's story with them, first of all. So we've spoken for quite a long time, a number of years actually, about doing a collaboration of some sort around his career. We were going to do a documentary. The idea was he was going to take a camera with him all around the world and like self-shoot.
Right.
And I'd work on it with him and we'd tell a story through a 12-month window of time. And we just, for one reason or another, we didn't quite get to the start line. And it ended up happening in reverse, because the original plan for a doco was going to be to have it finish at the 23 World Cup. Now, I'm sure most of your listeners will know what happened at the 23 World Cup. Not only did Australia win with Maxi hitting the winning runs, but
best innings of all time.
The greatest innings of all time in the history of the format, the 201 not out from 128 balls against Afghanistan, from 7 for 91, putting on 202 not out, unbeaten rather, with Pat Cummins. And the most extraordinary thing you could ever see, I think, is Ian Smith described it on commentary that famous night in Mumbai. So when that happened, and he'd already hit a 40-ball 100 earlier in the tournament, the quickest World Cup 100 ever, fell off the back of the golf cart in the middle of all of that, suffered a serious concussion, far more serious than people realised,
right.
And then hit the winning runs in the World Cup final and played a role with the ball in the final too, getting Rohit Sharma out just when it looks like Rohit was going to absolutely marmalise Australia. We're like, why don't we go back and tell the story of the previous 12 months from the benefit of hindsight, and acknowledging that 350 odd days, I would know if I'd written the book just before. It's been a while now. It's been about 6 months since its release, but he snapped his leg spectacularly. So much so that, as we reveal in the first page, he nearly needed to have his foot amputated. So, or there was a risk that he would need his foot amputated.
How did he do that again?
He was at a 50th birthday party for a mate of his. It was kind of misreported at the time. Glenn likes a good time, and we have this in the book, and he's a great lad, really great lad. But it was written up as like some mishap having a few beers. He actually was the designated driver that night. He hadn't had any drink at all. He was one of his old teammates who'd long since retired, big old fast bowler. He played club cricket with. He said that since they met when he was 18, they've always had like an older brother, younger brother relationship. And Glenn was taking the mick out of him. And the big guy got up out of his chair and was chasing after him. And Glenn took a few steps and slipped, and the big guy fell on top of his ankle. Oh. And it shattered in ways that like ankles shouldn't shatter. It was a demolition job in there. He was desperately unlucky with what happened. It was so innocuous at a friend's barbecue. And the surgery happened, but they couldn't contain the swelling after the surgery. And his wife, who is a pharmacist, was quietly told, we need to get on top of this right now, because there's real risk if the swelling doesn't go down, this could be catastrophic. So mercifully they got the cast off and they found a way through, and the recovery is the story that we tell, and how he got back to playing cricket again, and ultimately how he was able to perform at the very peak of his powers again. And the way we did it, if that was the X-axis, that 12-month or so period, the Y-axis was the rest of his life. So he's scattered through stories from his 35 years of life into the 15 chapters that kind of corresponded with stuff that was going on in the 12-month period. So it was a bit of a careful tapestry we were trying to pull together, but we're really proud of it, and been nominated for awards and that type of thing. And that's all very flattering after the fact that people seem to really enjoy it.
What is he like then? Because he strikes me that he's very much not your average cricketer away from cricket. I mean, obviously, the way he plays, he's a massive fan favourite because he's so carefree. It's like he doesn't give a shit about getting out, does he? I mean, that's what you think when you're watching the way that he plays, when he comes out and first ball tries to switch at you for six, or, one of the world's best bowlers. That's the kind of thing that he would do. Is he like that off the pitch? Is he carefree? Is he a bit more intense than that?
I think that he's better understood now than he ever has been before. The book's part of that, and the interviews he did around that. It's not that he doesn't care. It's that the way that he sees the challenge is different to the way that conventional players might see the challenge, because he's got more tricks to choose from and he can access the field in different ways. And early in his career, that was to his detriment from a public relations perspective, because he would do things like you described before, and people would assume it's reckless, when instead what's really going on, he's onboard computer is as sophisticated as any cricketers in the world. He's weighing things up and weighing up risk, and the way he picks up visual cues, it's extraordinary. He's a freak. So, I mean, we should all be so lucky as to have a thimble of the talent this guy's got, and the ability for him. His cricket IQ's through the roof, and he's obsessed with the game as well. A lot of cricketers you meet, they kind of go out of their way to tell you just how much they don't really care about the game. Like, it's a point of pride to, I'm just brilliant at it, but I don't care.
It's a bit like Andre Agassi in tennis. Is that kind of thing, isn't it?
Well, I also think he's got into the culture of there must be something wrong with you if you like cricket too much. You're a cricket badger, are you? And they turn their nose down at you. Glenn's like you and me. He's just like we are. If he were here right now, he would start regaling you with stuff he saw on the television when he was 7 years old because he was up all night watching. That's his worldview. Right. So he understands exactly what the risk-reward profile is on everything that he does inside the game, and loves it, and always has and always will. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in his post-playing career, because I'm sure he'll make a massive contribution in various ways.
Yeah. Media
and coaching. He's going to be a gun coach, and he's going to be a gun TV commentator. So he'll have options at his disposal when he's done. But that's the kind of person you're dealing with. Very authentic, massive oversharer, great company, and a guy with a really lovely heart. He's a lovely guy as well. He cares a lot about his friends and looks after his friends in various ways.
Yeah, he definitely. I don't know him like you do, but every time I've met him, that's exactly how he's come across to me as well. And when you play like that, you're going to have these massive peaks and massive troughs, aren't you? So this is a guy who can play the best innings of all time in an ODI. And then I've watched IPL tournaments where he literally hasn't scored a run, for the whole tournament. Yeah. I mean, I think a couple of years ago, I don't think he hit a six the entire tournament. And last year, he actually suggested to RCB to drop him. Yeah. And he's like, I'm not getting any runs, which you never hear from a player. In fact, maybe you should hear more of that from a player when they're just not feeling it. So, how does he deal with these? He's had these injuries too. Yep. How does he deal with these massive peaks and these massive troughs?
He's incredibly aware of his game. So what you said about the IPL stuff last year, we were writing a lot of the book through that period of time while doing interviews and getting it all together. And he would say to me occasionally, he goes, I feel like we've hit a point where I'd be better off out of the team. And for someone with a lot of confidence in his own game, that's perceptive, right? You're right. It'd probably be better if more cricketers who are really battling were able to put their hand up and say, look, I'm probably better out of the team. And that's what RCB did last year, having enjoyed some terrific times at that club. That his last season there, it didn't work, and so it goes. And there was the IPL where he didn't hit a six, and he turned out to play against India in his next game for Australia, hit 3 sixes, and KL Rahul was behind him as the wicket keeper. And he looked around at KL Rahul and said, I'm sorry, mate. Because he was his captain at Kings 11. He goes, I'm so sorry, I can't explain it. I can't explain what's just happened here. That was back in the pandemic era. But the knowing of one's game, and also a big thing with him, and he comes back to it quite a lot, is being at peace with failure. Cricket is a sport where failure is more prevalent than success, especially batting. Yeah. You have more bad days than good days. And him being able to accept the fact that the way that he plays augments the number of bad days, but it means that when it goes right, the good days become great days. They become life-affirming days. They become where were you when that happened days. And that's the lot in life for a player like him. And it's what's made his career just so compelling. And why it was so lovely to try and help work with him to tell that story last year.
Yeah, well, he's a trailblazer, isn't he? He's one of the early T20 players, and that's why he's such a fan favourite, the way that he plays, and lots of people have followed in his footsteps. Initially, maybe people sneered at him, but no longer, or that type of player, there was a bit of snobbery. You don't get that anymore. These guys are now seen as trailblazers. Yeah,
it's like the best of white ball cricket is allowed to flourish in red ball cricket. I know the last time we spoke, we were talking a lot about domestic T20 cricket, but make no mistake, I enjoy short form cricket and I enjoy what it's done for red ball cricket. Clearly, like anyone who denies the way in which red ball cricket has expanded its horizons in the last 20 years, kidding themselves.
Gave us some players. Gave us David Warner.
Too right. It would have given us more Glenn Maxwell had he not been really unlucky at really unusual times. And, timing is everything with selection. And his timing was often just a little bit wrong. In a different world, if he had let's say, been born into the generation that's currently existing in England under McCullum and Stokes, it's likely he would have been one of the first names on the team sheet playing the way that he does. But that's okay. It's, again, something that he's increasingly at peace with, that his test tally is only 7 of those caps, whereas he's played, 200 or 300 times in the white ball format.